Welcome to Fighting Words, Mike Straka, along with Mike MadLab Murata, and of course, Jimmie El Terror Rivera. Dude, great fight on Friday night. What was it like fighting on a Friday for you?
It brought me back to like the old days where I used to do like ring combat, CFC, um, the lower level of pro MMA. So it was good. I mean, Friday, Saturday don't really matter to me as long as fight's a fight.
Yeah, were you,
How's the area
go ahead.
over there?
And Omaha,
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice. It's more city like. It's not country like, I guess, or farm life out in Omaha. So it was more city like. I mean, people are okay. They're nicer on the plane than they were in, I guess, in the city. But I guess it's different. I guess different point of views, different beliefs in the city than it is outside the city.
How's the job going? How's the new Plan B career?
Good, good. I'm still teaching. Um, Police officer at Elwood Park, which I heard is the back of your neck of woods for your family.
Yep.
And we just got done. Actually, we're doing this week. So myself, Ron Showman, and Chief Ligo, my boss, we all started a law enforcement defensive tactics called Guardian. So we got a training session going on this week. So it's right now I'm in training and teaching some departments down some defensive tactics stuff for law enforcement, and it's going well.
Yeah, I was happy, man, when my stepfather knows a lot of the cops, because I grew up in Elwood Park too, but my stepfather knows, he mingles with everybody. When he told me that you were a cop, I was like so happy, dude. Literally, because they live by the park. They live over there by the park, and there's always a lot of riffraff in there,
Which park though?
English.
Oh, okay, all right, I got what you're saying.
They got the big German Shepherd, so he's always in there walking the shepherds and everything. So he's like, Jimmie Rivera, a fighter. He knows that like I do the content and everything. He's like, I was like, Jimmie Rivera, and he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's great. I said, you guys are fine. You guys are fine now.
Good. Yeah, I've been there. I always do my patrol checks there, so he's good.
Awesome.
Next time around there, I'll look for him and say hi.
Yeah, definitely. She's got blonde hair, and he's the bald guy with the flannel all the time.
All right, even in the summertime.
Hey. Yeah, you always got a flannel on in the summer.
Jimmy, I read that you got your obviously you got your sights set on the championship and the belt. Do you think it's going to come quicker than you thought?
I don't know, man. This fight was tough. Granted, I was out for 5 months for the police academy, but besides that, from January until I fought, I was going through opponents. I had 4 guys say no to me to fight me. So I was just like, all right, finally this guy, I can't pronounce his name, said yes. Knew very little bit about him. Like I just saw he had a couple boxing matches and he had like 15 pro MMA bouts. Then I found out more, like he had over 60 bouts. Then after the fight, I found out he had like 40 Muay Thai bouts. He was like the king of Thailand or whatever. He's like well known in Asia. I was like, what the fuck is this? I didn't know. He was 11-4 MMA. He's a tough kid. It's finally someone I could fight. Dude, the kid had like 80 fights. I was like, holy shit. And he's younger than me.
Jesus.
So,
wow.
I mean, I was happy he took the fight.
It's funny. I think we always say, MMA has come so far from the early days, but now I can't even keep up. And it's what I did for a living for 15 years. Like there's too many fighters. I can't even pronounce half their freaking names anymore.
No, it's that. Honestly, not taking away from anything, but looking at the UFC, you watch like the fight nights and all this other stuff. I don't even know anybody on the card. Most of the time, like there was a fight night the other day, and one on the card. And then most of the time, it's a fight night, like the main event and the co-main event. Like that's it. All the big names, in the pay-per-views, and that's pretty much it. It's like it's doing a change, man. Like the way the UFC has set up and other organizations, everything's a little different. But it's a huge change. You don't like, at least with the UFC, you don't know a lot of these guys fighting anymore. Never even heard of them.
Yeah, it's almost like it's pretty crazy that you say that, because I got to cover every event, man. So I know, like even the last card, like you said, a lot of the guys you don't know. You go through their records and you sometimes wonder where they're peeling these guys from. They'll have a 10-0 record, but every one they fought has losing records. And they're coming from it's almost like they're just trying to cushion the. I think it's more contract too. They got to fulfill obligations for the networks and stuff like that. But a question I did want to ask you is, you know, you had a lot of success in the UFC. Obviously, you had a lot of success in MMA. It seems like a lot of people are getting enticed now to move over to BKFC. You know, what is your experience as far as like dealing with the behind the curtains with that organization opposed to so many MMA organizations that you've dealt with?
Yeah, see, I mean, the hardest thing I think wasn't even on, it's not even on mine. It's on Dave trying to find me an opponent. The same thing that kind of happened in UFC where, like, you know, the UFC was a little different. All the guys behind me wanted to fight me, and I wanted to fight the guys in front of me to keep climbing the rankings. With BKFC, I'm running into the issue where, no one wants to fight me. I had some people actually call me out that wanted to fight me. I'm like, yeah, I'll fight you, but you got to drop down to 45. They're like 55ers or 65ers. I'm like, I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'4". My first debut was against Howard Davis, who was the number one ranked guy, which, it was a close fight, ended up in a draw, but he was 6'2". You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah, I
know
remember that. I watched that.
I don't even know how he made 145, but he was 6'2" and had almost a foot over me. I'm getting to the point where it's hard to find fights. I'm hoping, we had the 145 belt championship fight going on June 9th at BKFC. So I'm hoping maybe I could get the winner out of that sometime in September, October, depending on their injuries and stuff.
Gotcha. What about now when you look at, this is probably a weird comparison, but if you look at the Eddie Alvarez and the Chad Mendez fight, that almost was like the Forrest Griffin Bonner fight for BKFC. The viewing ratings for that fight went through the roof, and it really got a lot of eyes now on BKFC. I've always been watching it. I've watched Bare Knuckle. I mean, from the documentaries back with Roy Shaw and stuff. Like, I've been into it for a long time, but it seems like that fight kind of propelled BKFC to be kind of a threat to a lot of different organizations, boxing included, because it's literally boxing, without the gloves. So you being a striker, right? You being a striker now, obviously this is, you're in this, you're obviously doing the cop thing too, but how did you have to change your patterns as far as your striking? Is it, I heard guys like McLean saying you have to kind of corkscrew your punches. You got to look for different targets on the face so you'll break your hand. Like, did you have to alter much in your training with your punches, or is it pretty much the same?
Yeah, the only thing I altered in my training was I did mainly boxing. My coach wanted me to do nothing else. And I did some pad work and some bag work without gloves, just with wraps on. But besides that, we come from we have a good striking and boxing background. I spar with a whole bunch of different boxers, all the time. So when it came to doing this, it was actually a lot easier on my body. A lot easier training on my body. Again, it's really easy. Like, I got this cut. The cut, he hit me with a nice left hand. One of the very few punches he didn't telegraph the whole fight. And I got cut open. Did it hurt? No. Did the cut suck? Yeah, it fucking sucks to get cut. But it didn't hurt. Like, the punches didn't hurt. I feel like it's even less. I feel like it's more impact when you have the glove. And then it's less impact without the glove, but it's a higher chance of getting cut. The only difference with the BKFC.
And in between rounds, your recovery time, I'm sure, is a lot quicker.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing explosive balls to the wall for 2 minutes instead of doing 3 5-minute rounds. For MMA,
right?
It's a lot less on your body. I mean, there's a lot of pros to do it. You know what I mean? And then with guys like myself and other guys with names coming over and making more money than they did in the UFC, it's very appealing.
Yeah.
You got to think about it too. You're making more money, and I'm fighting for only 10 minutes compared to 15 minutes. I would definitely love to fight for the belt. I also would love to test myself against, fighting a pro boxer, get it on one of these, Jake Paul cars or some shit like that. To do that, I think I could go. You had Aldo go in there and box, and a couple of these other guys. Well, I think some of these guys are pretty good at boxing. I just think I'm better than them. I could get in there and beat them.
Awesome. All right. Well, Jimmie, we know you're busy. We appreciate your time very much. And I hope you get that next fight, that title fight. That'd be cool to watch.
I thank you. Say a prayer for me. I'm hoping to. I'm hoping, I get a call within a week or two and say, all right, you're going to fight the winner of this title fight. And I'm like, fuck yeah. When's the date? That's it.
Jimmie, speaking of boxing, I gotta ask you this because I know you're a boxing fanatic. Did you watch the fight Saturday night?
Yeah.
Who'd you have it scored for?
Which fight? I'm sorry.
Haney and Lomachenko.
You know what? It was a close fight, but I had Haney winning it.
You did.
Know what I mean? Yeah.
Did you score it or you just had him winning it?
I didn't score it, but like I saw him, I watched the fight. I thought he won majority of the rounds. Again, it was a close fight, but I just, he pulled it out a little bit more. You know what I mean?
It was close. I had it 115-113 for Loma. I just thought that one scorecard from Dave Moretti, the 116-112, I thought that was egregious. But it was
I had Haney winning by a round. That was it.
Yeah. What about have you been to Vicarios? Have you got some muffins by Vicarios Deli or what?
I'm there at least 2 or 3 times a week.
He's the best.
He wasn't working. I mean, it's right at Elmwood Park. Jim lucked out. There's not that many places that are good to eat in Elmwood Park. He's one of the places that are good you can eat. So he lucked out that I get to go over there and go eat.
I miss him, man. I tell him I said hi. I text him once in a while, but ever since I moved to California, I only go when I'm home. So when you stop in there, tell him Big Mike said hi.
All right, I'll let him know. No problem.
All right, Jim, listen, man, all the best. We really hope that you get that title shot and keep Elmwood Park safe for us.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.